How do you write a timeless song? How do you write a song that sounds like it's been around for centuries, even though it is from the early 90s? Well, hello my friends, we meet again. It has been a while. Where should we begin? Today we attempt to find out just what the special sauce is that makes The Bard Song by Blind Guardian so special. Before we begin, remember to hit that like button. Not only does it show me that you guys are enjoying these song deep dives, but also make sure that the algorithm knows as well. Check out my Patreon and consider supporting me if you want to help me get more of these out quicker. I also have a playlist of these deep dives. With that out of the way, let us begin. The Bard Song, brackets, In the Forest, appears originally on Somewhere in Time, which was released in June of 1992. It is decidedly a different song from the normal power metal goodness which you expect from the German power metal legends themselves. It is more of a folk ballad than anything regarding power metal. Yet, it fits in completely with the band's sound. The Bard Song would go on to be one of Blind Guardian's most famous songs, with even the band themselves acquiring the nicknames of the Bards. Famously, when the song is played live, the singer Hansi will often only sing the first couple lines, and perhaps maybe a few more as the song goes through, while the crowd takes over the singing completely. Experiencing it live is such a magical moment. The goosebumps on your skin as the crowd sings the entire song is probably one of my favorite concert moments ever. As the guitars play their beautiful chords and melodies, the entire chorus of thousands of people sing along. It takes a very powerful and moving song to be able to do something like that. So, just exactly why do people like it so much? Due to its popularity, the Bard Song has seen numerous releases, including a music video over 11 years after its original release, which included a re-recorded version. They then also re-recorded it in 2024 when they redid all of Somewhere in Time. For the purposes of this video, we'll be looking at the original 1992 version. We'll take a look at the music first and then the lyrics after. The song starts out with one lone acoustic guitar playing this lovely finger-picked pattern. The guitars in this song, production-wise, sound extremely warm and welcoming, like I am with them in a tavern. I can almost feel the warmth of the open fire and hear the chit-chat begin to quiet down around me as the band begins to play. The song starts off being played in the key of A-flat minor. The guitars play a very whimsical descending melody, which is bolstered by the fact that this intro is in 3/4 time, which gives a very waltz-like groove to the intro, and all adding up to the feeling of a classic and very old song. The acoustic guitar plays a pattern which almost leads itself around in a circle, which is mostly due to the fact that the root note of A-flat is played twice in a row, almost fooling your ear into thinking the pattern is only 3 measures long before continuing with the standard 4. This effect is bolstered by the melody going back up as well. It is something very small, but this sort of fooling you into thinking the new measure of music has started is very unusual and just adds a little bit of melodic interest to the intro. The guitar plays a chord progression which goes from the minor 1 of A flat to the major 7 of G flat down to the minor 5, which is E flat, and then up again to the A flat root. While picking these notes, he simultaneously plays a little descending melody which outlines a lot of the thirds and suspended intervals of these chords. As the acoustic rhythm guitar finishes the first 8-bar pattern, another guitar, we can call this the lead guitar I suppose, joins in harmonizing the descending melody extremely beautifully. Jumping in between octaves and other intervals, it makes this whimsical, ethereal effect even more strong. Both guitars sound very, very beautiful together, mixed and mastered absolutely perfectly on the original version even as well. An absolutely gorgeous intro to the song here. Here, I lowered the harmonized higher melody down to the same range as the original finger-picked one. You can see how the harmonized melody jumps in and out of unison. Really, really gorgeous songwriting here. In addition to this, the band keeps up playing around this sense of harmonic rhythm, as instead of repeating the harmonized part for the standard 8 bars, we see the vocals come in on the 8th bar in what feels like a measure too early. During this, they also switch to a 4/4 time feel here as well. It gives the song a sort of real sort of off-the-cuff, almost improvised vibe.
Now you all know
Really excellent stuff here, and it's kind of a little strange intro the way it's structured, but it just works really well together, and the sort of odd harmonic rhythm of it just really works together to give you a lot of interest and intrigue into the song. After this, we get the first appearance of the beautiful voice of Hansi Kirsch, one of metal's all-time great singers in my opinion. His voice is just so powerful and full of that wonderful Hansi grit and character, and on the Bard song he gives us one of the all-time best and his most dynamic performance. I truly love his voice, and on these slower and more sparsely arranged songs, he really gets to show off why he is one of the great metal singers.
Now you all know the Bard said.
Thus Hansi joins in singing along with the guitar playing the lower melody initially. The band also keeps the same chord progression as the intro, tying these two parts together despite the time signature change-up. Hansi sings these opening lines very, very beautifully and almost tenderly, inviting us to come and join in on the adventure he and the other bards are about to sing about. Now you all know the bards and their songs. When hours have gone by, I'll close my eyes. In a world far away, we may meet again, but now hear my song about the dawn of the night. Let us sing the Bard's song.
When hours have gone by, I close my eyes.
And again, we'll get to the lyrics and the story behind the song a little bit later on. As the verse starts to develop, the finger-picked guitar picks up the pace by playing some gorgeous finger-picked arpeggios while Hansi sings. The other guitar plays a melody which follows sort of loosely what is being sung by Hansi.
In a world far away, we may meet again.
The switch to 4/4 time from the 3/4 time intro gives us a sense of traveling, like we are being whisked away by the words sung by this bard into another realm. We can almost view this as 3/4 time being another world that's being sung about, and the 4/4 time parts being back in reality while the bards sing to us. I think this is reinforced by the line, quote, "When hours have gone by, I'll close my eyes," end quote. As the listener, he is almost hypnotized for hours by the songs that these bards sing. The lower guitar, which I'll just call the rhythm guitar from now on to be simple, plays some arpeggios that outline some really, really beautiful chords. As well as all these chords are played with the third of the chord moved up an octave. This creates that gorgeous tension with all those add 9 and add 11 chords. The first being A flat minor add 9, which is then followed by a G flat major add 11, followed by E flat minor add 11, and then again with an A flat minor add 9. Here are those chords played together in sequence, non-arpeggiated. And the real genius here is that the arpeggios sort of kind of follow the vocal melody. Again, very loosely, falling in and out of unison, which is really, really just beautiful and works very, very well. I love this verse. It just sounds so beautiful and lush.
Meet again, but now hear my song about the dawn of.
As the verse wraps itself up and Hansi sings the lines, quote, "about the dawn of the night," end quote, the band slows down holding these few notes as we move into the brief pre-chorus section.
About the dawn of the night, let's sing the Bard song.
Then as Hansi sings the line, quote, "let's sing the Bard song," end quote, they move fully into this little pre-chorus section, which is essentially just a little descending pattern played by both guitars. They slightly increase the pace as well from the verse, which makes a transition into the chorus much smoother.
Sing the Bard song. Tomorrow.
Now as we enter the chorus, the first thing right away is we see this return of this very dreamlike and very waltzy feeling time signature of 3/4. Again, this speaks to me as if we are now inside the story of the bards again, whisked away by their words into the world of adventure. This is again is echoed by the lyrics, which are sung by Hansi in this very Blind Guardian trademarked chorus of voices fashion.
Tomorrow will take us away far from.
You know, it sounds like we have a low octave, a higher third, and perhaps maybe some other sort of harmony, but Hansi sings it all so well and so tightly that it's really hard to make out. Regardless, the chorus of Hansi's is very, very gorgeous. The lyrics of the chorus are as follows. "Tomorrow will take us away, far from home, no one will ever know our names, but the bard's songs will remain. The chorus of Hansi's sing all these lines together except for the last line of the chorus. Here he gives us just a single voice, which gives some nice contrast not only to the rest of the lyrics, but it also gives this lone line much more gravitas and importance. Even when the chorus is gone, the bard's songs will still remain with you, it is saying.
But the bard songs will remain.
The chorus then repeats in a sort of a B section, which again sees the chorus of Hansi's regale us with some more beautiful lyrics. Tomorrow will take it away, the fear of today, it will be gone, due to our magic songs. Again, similar to the first half, the line due to our magic songs is also sung by just a lone voice. After the chorus is gone, after the song is over, after the bards have left, their magic songs and their effect on you will remain. This is what it is saying, and it is really excellent songwriting here to tie the meaning and the story of the song to this famous and trademark choral sound that Blind Guardian have managed to use and make their own, and then to strategically take it away to help perpetuate and further the story. Truly masterful songwriting here.
We'll be gone due to our magic songs.
Underneath, the singing guitars go back to their waltz-light instrumentation. The rhythm guitar bounces back and forth between a D-flat minor add 9 and an A-flat sus4 arpeggio. The way the song is produced, the acoustic guitars contain a lot of bass frequencies, which make the whole thing sound very warm and full despite the relatively sparse instrumentation.
Way far from home, no one would ever know.
With the emphasis being placed on the one of every bar, it sort of reminds you of a lot of those classic waltz you would hear at balls or galas, with the rhythm being on the hard pulse of the first beat with two lessers after, like boom bum bum boom bum bum boom bum bum boom bum bum, as well as the sort of not exactly playing the root chord of A flat minor, instead of playing a sus4 chord. It kind of gives this sort of unsettled, not yet resolved vibe.
Tomorrow will take it away, the fear of today.
The lead guitar once again follows loosely with the vocal melody, and all these elements combine to give us a very magical sounding chorus. One which sort of makes you sway back and forth and sing along with the bards that are telling you the tale. You know, the chorus of voices sort of encourages you to sing along as well. Humans are a tribal animal, and when you hear other people singing, you want to join in with them.
Tomorrow will take it away, the fear of today.
And as Hansi sings out the last lines of the chorus, and as he reaches the word gone, the band makes another definite musical shift here. The lead guitar holds a note, while the rhythm guitar plays another little pattern, this time with the first out-of-scale note of the song, which is a G natural.
We'll be gone due to our magic songs.
So this little accidental is combined with a switch back to 4/4, which of course combined with the singing, resolving, and of course all the lyrics, which makes this conclusion of the dreamlike chorus sort of back to reality, you know, almost like we're coming out of the dream. That little almost sour note, you could say, is pulling us back to reality.
Due to our magic songs.
And to celebrate this, the band then enters what I can only best describe as a jig section. The band moves briefly into 2/4 time and speeds up the tempo considerably. I can envision someone dancing around a fire to this section, you know, the tavern all clapping along. It's a wonderful little change up to an already fairly complex song. It is a great way to lead us out of the chorus and into the next verse. However, before moving fully to the next verse, the band then slows the tempo back down, moves back to standard time, and we get what we could consider a small, short little guitar solo or lead section. This little lead or guitar solo, whatever you want to call it, is very beautiful and almost bittersweet. In context, these two parts together sound like the party and then the walk home after when the bard songs are over. You know, you have the dancing and then this bittersweet sort of forlorn melody that sounds like I'm going home and missing it. Really gorgeous playing, great musical storytelling, and the contrast between the jig and the lead solo section works very well. This brings us right back into the second verse.
There's only one
The second verse is instrumentally very similar to the first, with the lead guitar once again loosely following along with the vocals. Hansi gives us one of his most dynamic and emotional performances as he sings these lines. There's only one song left in my mind, tales of a brave man who lived far from here. Now the bard songs are over, and it's time to leave. No one should ask you for the name of the one who tells the story. More excellent singing here. On the original 1992 version, you can sort of hear Hansi's German accent shining through on some of the words, but honestly, to me, that just sort of adds to the charm. It sounds like someone has traveled and they're a little bit foreign and their accent is a little bit different to yours, and they're singing these songs. You can tell they're not really from where you are. I don't know, just a very real cool touch. I really like his delivery on the line, quote, no one should ask you, end quote. Really, really fantastic singing by Hansi.
No one should ask you for the name of the one.
As we move into the second chorus, the band simply omits the pre-chorus that was played from the first verse and instead dives right back into chorus and waltz time.
Who tells the story tomorrow?
This first half of the second chorus is nearly identical to the first chorus, although there's a slightly subtle cello echoing the bass notes. In the chorus, this cello essentially just follows the bass notes of the rhythm guitar and provides some much needed substantial bass to the waltz that the instruments are playing. A very, very small and subtle touch which adds a lot of depth and richness to the overall sound.
Take us away, far from home. No one will ever.
Then as the band moves into the second half of the second chorus, we get a change up in lyrics, along with a much bigger chorus of Hansi's to go along with it. Together they sing, tomorrow all will be known, and you're not alone, so don't be afraid in the dark and cold, 'cause the bard songs will remain.
Tomorrow, all will be known, and you're not alone.
I especially love the gargantuan harmonies and chorus on the line, so don't be afraid in the dark and cold. It's just so grand and epic sounding, which of course, again, is immediately juxtaposed by the lone voice singing the bard songs will remain line. A very common motif in the song, which I explained earlier, works fantastically as a songwriting, storytelling element, as well as something very unique sonically that your ears can latch onto. It's a very excellent choice of songwriting to do that. As Hansi sings this lone voice line coming out of the chorus, the guitars switch up the chord progression.
In the dark and cold, 'cause the bard songs will
Moving to an entirely new chord progression for the coda of the song. They play this descending 3-2-1 chord progression, which sees them use this 2 chord for the first time in the song. The cello also becomes much more prominent here, breaking away from simply playing the bass notes. It briefly follows the vocal melody before landing on the A-flat root note when the rhythm guitar comes back to the 1 chord as well.
remain.
A really gorgeous way to use the cello. It provides some lift to the song, as well as emphasizing this gorgeous melody that Hansi sings, and then of course, when it goes back to the root chord, it goes back to that root note as well, as a sort of nice roundabout way to tie the two, the lead melodies and the bass rhythm notes as well all together. Yeah, it's good. In this coda, Hansi sings, they all will remain in my thoughts and in my dreams. They're always in my mind. These songs of hobbits, dwarves, and men, and elves, come close your eyes. You can see them too.
In my thoughts and in my dreams, they're always in.
Again, and I know I've said this many times, but just seriously, seriously gorgeous singing from Hansi. And in contrast to the choruses, it's just one lone voice with all the instrumentation surrounding him. All the instrumentation around him is made to highlight his singing voice. The lead guitar once again follows very loosely the vocal melody, dropping in and out of unison.
In my thoughts and in my dreams, they're always in.
Hansi's lone voice singing the coda is again in very stark contrast to the full choral arrangements of the chorus, and this is all very intentional to the story of the song. Here, despite the chorus of bards and their singing being gone, the 3/4 time and the magical feel from the chorus remains. The lone voice remarking on how all these stories are still remaining in his mind. When he closes his eyes, he can still see and envision the songs that these bards sang.
Can see them too.
And thus the song ends with everyone landing and resolving onto the root note of A flat. It feels very final, The concert is over, yet the bard's songs remains with you. It is a very short song as it's just over 3 minutes long, and despite this, it contains many twists and turns. It almost compels you to listen to it once again, to revisit the stories of these bards. It's an insanely catchy song, and despite the topics that it sings about, it manages to avoid any and all cheesiness. Really a true masterpiece of songwriting by Blind Guardian. But okay, Varvis, what is the Bard song actually about? Now, I alluded to what I think the meaning of the song is earlier, but let us go through and try to decipher it all here. In essence, this is a song about how the power of story through music can remain with someone long after the story has ended. We must try to place ourselves in a different time and place where music was not so instantaneously available as it is today. I find with the availability of music, it has sort of cheapened it in a way that it's not so moving and important for you to listen to every little piece of music that you hear. And I'm talking about a time period before recorded music even existed, which, let's be real here, 99.999% of humans who ever lived did not have access to recorded music. So the only way for them to have heard music was to play it themselves or have someone else play it for them. So we must understand that the monumental impact that a polished and rehearsed performance would have on somebody. A traveling group of bards arrives in your village and they play a concert at your local tavern or inn. It must have been a very exciting and memorable event for a traveling group to visit your town. You can imagine the place packed with people all starving for new music. Quote, "Now you all know the bards and their songs. When hours have gone by, I close my eyes." End quote. These bards would likely play for a few hours during the evening, maybe do 1 or 2 sets, and during this time their stories and beautiful music would enrapture anyone in the audience. Just think, you don't hear music at all for maybe a month, and then a traveling group of musicians comes through and tells you all these beautiful and grand stories. Quote, "In a world far away, we may meet again, but now hear my song about the dawn of the night. Let's sing the bard song." End quote. Here, I believe this song, the actual song we are talking about, is meant to be the closing song of their set. Perhaps this song is a standard, a song which most people will know and can sing along themselves with. The bard says that we may meet again down the road, but for now, let us all sing together. This leads us to the chorus of the song, whose lyrics, as I explained earlier, are sung in a choral fashion, encouraging everyone to sing along. Quote, "Tomorrow will take us away, far from home, no one will ever know our names, but the bard songs will remain." End quote. Again, the lone voice singing the bard songs will remain is very purposeful, meant to represent the lasting memory of these songs that is left with the people after the bards have departed. Quote, "Tomorrow will take it away, the fear of today, it will be gone due to our magic songs." End quote. Here, these bards are lamenting that people may not remember their names, but their songs will have lasting effects and give lasting memories to the people who hear it. Perhaps just for the evening, they can escape the drudgery and anxiety of their lives and live in a different world, closing their eyes and imagining the stories that these bards are singing to them. You really have to think, again, place yourselves in the position of someone who doesn't hear music all that often. Unlike us, who hears it all the time, on the radio, it's always in the background. There's always some sort of music playing. But try to imagine a time where that wasn't the case and you hear some very beautiful music. It'd be very moving. And you, dear viewer, I'm not sure where you are from, but I'm sure your culture has some folk songs which are very old. Most people probably have no idea the name of the person or people who came up with the song and who first sang these songs. Yet these folk songs usually speak to something very deep within the cultural conscious and thus remain popular, and many people can still sing them with you. These are the magic songs which remain far after the names of the bards have been forgotten. I'm sure you can think of a couple examples off the top of your head. For example, here in Canada, one of these songs we have is "The Land of the Silver Birch."
Blue lake and rocky shore, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada.
This song speaks deeply to the pioneering spirit of the people of Canada, as well as the wide open wilderness and all the foliage that we have, as well as a tribute to the various groups of First Nations whose culture has forever embedded itself within Canadian society. I'm sure most Canadians will be able to join in singing with me in this song, which these are the songs to which the bards' songs sing about. These songs remain in the cultural zeitgeist for a long time, despite the original authors of the song being long forgotten. My question here to you then, dear viewer, is what are these bard songs in your own culture? Make sure to link them down below. I'd love to hear, some German folk songs, Czech, French, Malaysian, whatever. Put them down in the comments. I'm very curious to see. And so it's interesting to think that perhaps the Bard song someday 100, 200, 300 years in the future may become one of these songs in, however the metal culture evolves over time. I guess if that makes any sense to you guys. Anyways, back to the song. The Bards then play their little dance jig number before returning once again to regale us. Quote, "There's only one song left in my mind, tales of a brave man who lived far from here." End quote. The songs to which these bards sing are often of grand adventures, to which a brave man is almost always the main character. It represents the eternal battle of man against nature. This brave man represents order amongst the chaos of a very scary and dangerous world. Try to imagine it, right? Before modern technology, the wilderness was very, very scary and dangerous. Even today, it is very dangerous and scary. It's just order and the chaos. That's what the brave man represents. Quote, "Now the bard songs are over, and it's time to leave. No one should ask you for the name of the one who tells the story." End quote. Again, these lines just reinforce my point. The singers of these songs are almost irrelevant. People don't want to hear the names of who was telling the stories. They just want to hear the stories themselves. You can view this in the same vein as cover bands or movie scripts. You know the story and you know the songs, but perhaps you don't really know or care who is telling you these stories, who is singing you these songs. You just enjoy the songs themselves. Quote, "They all will remain. In my thoughts and in my dreams, they're always in my mind. These songs of hobbits, dwarves and men, and elves, come close your eyes. You can see them too." End quote. We must remember that in pre-recorded music times, it was a real treat to hear live music. The stories and songs which people would hear would last with them, probably forever, honestly. It is said that music is intrinsically tied to the human spirit, that even in the most severe of dementia cases, the person will still remember and be able to sing songs from their youth. So these songs and the stories which are told would appear in the thoughts and dreams of the people who have heard them long after the bards have left. This is what the bard song is all about. The timeless and incredibly powerful, moving qualities of stories told through music. Bravo to Blind Guardian for this fantastic song. What do you think the song is about? Leave a comment down below.